Get this right, it's a sign that says no parking, but the O has little googly eyes. I think that's a great idea. I think more things should have googly eyes. So this is a potential walk and talk video. Might end up being one of the member exclusives by virtue of being probably very short. My phone doesn't have a lot of battery. And I'm walking around New York, trying to head home after an evening of entertainment. I went to a speakeasy, actually. It's one of those things you don't assume is real. Or you assume it's real, but like, is it really that entertaining? Went into one, was surprisingly cool. And one of the things I think walking home after like a big event, like I sometimes feel social doubt after hanging out. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I could do more of that. But in either case, there's something really interesting about when you say goodbye and when you're by yourself on the last bit of the journey home. Because ultimately, on any journey you go on, at some point you're alone. At some point you part ways. Even when you marry someone, even if you have children and you live together happily ever after, eventually one of you dies first, right? So on every journey, you're alone at some point. And nowhere is this more true than when you walk home from a bar and you have a little bit of that, poison that you put into your body still in there. And something I think every time is like, man, walking home with a little bit of this poison inside of me, this is good. I should just drink the poison sometime and go for a walk around the city. And that's obviously a terrible line of thinking. Pro tip, don't think to yourself, hey, what if I picked up a serious drug problem? Because, alcohol's a drug. We don't say that it's a drug, but it's a drug, right? Hey, would it be cool if I just picked up a drug problem, like just for the meme, just to see how it is? And I feel like so many people get lured into pretty bad things that way. It's really easy to convince people to do a bad thing by just being like, yeah, wouldn't it be fun though? That's how most people start their very crazy journeys into lots of things. I have a friend who told me a story once about how he just wanted to, for the meme, air quotes, he just wanted to try, I don't want to talk about drugs, but he wanted to try the very bad one, the one that is famously known for like being very good the first time and then destroying your life every time off that. And he's like, I want to do it one time and play World of Warcraft, just for funniness. And so he got a friend and he did the thing with them. And my friend who told me this story is like, well, that's where I stopped. It was a really fun one time and I realized that was the end. But his friend that he did it with, I'm going to miss these crossing lights. It's going to be terrible. Actually, do you ever have to miss crossing lights? If you believe in yourself, you don't. If you just know that at any point you can cross anyway, you can do whatever you want. Anyway, so this is probably an extra shaky walk and talk video. I'm sorry for that. But the colors are so much better at night. There is something about nighttime colors. This is terrifying beyond belief. Something about nighttime colors that just hit different, right? And something else that hits different is supposedly heroin. And so my friend's friend, I wouldn't call him a friend, I'd say he's like a good acquaintance. I'd like him to be a friend, but he's not in my life enough to be one. So my good acquaintance's friend is very seriously hooked on this thing. And his response is like, man, isn't it terrible that like he makes me feel bad, like I feel bad about this, like almost like I caused it, even though I said very clearly we should do this very bad thing just this one time. And really it's his fault for continuing it after that. And it's interesting because I feel like there's so many like pivotal moments in your life where like this light is very concerning. Something about flashing lights and noises. Those two things together can make anyone feel panicked. And I feel like we should try not to willingly induce that on people. Anyway, so sometimes I think to myself, I should just ingest some poison and go for a walk, right? I feel like calling it poison makes it seem suicidal. I'm talking about the devil's liquid, of course. That also sounds bad. I'm talking about alcohol. So I feel like sometimes you go for a walk and you think, yeah, should do that. It would be a lot of fun. But the reality is like, well, that's the first step to like, once you do anything without any accountability, things can get real bad. Like, this is probably gonna have to not go public, but I think about every guy has some version of like, oh yeah, like if it was possible, of course I'd have, like the answer to like, what would you do if you could do anything you want? And there's the joke answer is like two girls at the same time, and it's like, haha, very funny. But like almost every guy has like a version of that in their head. They're like, of course they do if they could, but they can't, and so they shan't. But it's interesting to me because just like, I feel like it's one of those things where like, the closer you try to make it into reality versus just a fun thing that you imagine in your head, the worse you kind of make it sometimes. There's a documentary you can watch. Maybe it's a reality TV show, and therefore the exact opposite of documentary. Pro tip: reality TV means fake TV. You all know that though. I don't need to explain it. But there's this reality TV show from Utah, if I'm not mistaken, Mormon County, where you can see a guy who actually has 5 wives. And it's like, man, you get all of the drama and none of the fun. You know, having 5 times as many, children, having 5 times the child output is not a good addition to any relationship, as it turns out. And 5 times the strain on your finances, 5 times the emotional strain, and really all you get out of it is being able to say but 5 people, am I right? And it's interesting because to live the fantasy, sometimes you have to make your life hell. I think about another one, winning the lottery. Winning the lottery is always seen as this dream in people's head. Oh yeah, when I win the lottery, I'm gonna stop walking through New York at night and actually have a limo or something. That's actually a really nice little car there. That's a private vehicle of some form, it looks like. Would be nice to have a driver or whatever dumb things people say as an example of if I won the lottery. But I feel like actually winning the lottery is a terrible experience. 33% of lottery winners, a third, go bankrupt at some point in the next couple of years. Because people who don't have a lot of money, having a lot of money but one time is bad. In fact, I think for most people, you want to have an income rather than having money. An income is a regular amount. You make mistakes of it, but then you get more money. Winning £1 million once, or even $100 million once, all that means for you is well, here's a big pile of money. If you're smart, you'll invest that and you'll know about the investing returns. You make 4% conservatively a year on 100 million. 4 million a year, that'll cover all your expenses. But the dumb part of your brain, the emotional part of your brain, the fantasy part of your brain is actually going, oh, I've got 100 million, but only once. Better spend it before it goes. Better, gonna look left, gonna look right, see? I cross the road. Smartly, I do. But, it's funny because I feel like the emotional part of your brain is okay, I'm worth 100 million. Why can't I own a house worth 20 million? Why can't I own a yacht that's worth 5 million? What about a car? And then you spend 25, 30 million on fixed assets. And then you realize, oh, in America, for some reason, you pay taxes on your lottery gains. I actually know the reason, by the way. It's because lotteries are usually run by the states and you pay federal tax, even on state government hands out, because obviously America is a federal country, but the federal government takes precedent. Interesting stuff. Maybe you never thought about it. I think about it. All are welcome at this church on Broadway and 10th Street, by the way. You want to go to church? Oh, battery too low to use flash. My phone is begging me to stop recording. I'm gonna keep going though, because I think it's interesting that dreams are sometimes, I feel like this is such a dumb statement to say, but some dreams are better as just dreams, right? And there's the examples I just mentioned. There's the idea of wouldn't it be fun to sometimes don't you see a guy this is almost this is literally a shitty statement. People will hate me for what I'm gonna say. My dream job, if I had 100 million in the bank and I'm earning 4 million a year, is wouldn't it be cool to work at Subway but then just be really sassy? That'd be my dream job. You want olives? No, you don't. Oh no, I really want the olives. Sorry, olives are bad. They're right there. Sorry, they're out of date. Don't want out of date olives, do you? Yeah, I do. Sorry, we can't sell them. I'm gonna go to another Subway. Sure, fine. I feel like being a sassy business owner is my dream goal in some ways. And I think about it a lot because one of my one of my mental thoughts I have a lot. There's a 7-Eleven there, by the way. Should we go in? We shouldn't. One of my struggles I have a lot is this idea of man, if I was 99.9% of the versions of me that live don't end up being successful on YouTube. I have the equivalent of winning the lottery in terms of my job description. I work a job that is very sought after and that most people fail at even if they really try. And something about that's kind of crazy because you don't really internalize, the people who win the lottery don't think man, this is so great after the first few days. They just think, yep, I'm worth $1 million. And then their friends and family come after them. They're like, well, you're worth $1 million now. They see them as less than, so they're like, oh, well, you won the $1 million. You didn't the $1 million or whatever. I'm trying to go to 14th Street, by the way, so 12th Street, that's close enough for me. And that's kind of a tragedy in its own right, that like people will see you as having not earned it. But another thing that's interesting is like you don't really see that, you know, like I have this effective lottery situation. I have a very rare thing that happened to me and was successful. Here's a Forbidden Planet, by the way. Didn't know those were in America. Apparently they are. One's on Broadway. But it's so interesting because, you know, I even though like I should be thinking, I even like a few years ago, I was like, man, if I was successful enough on YouTube to just pay rent or whatever, or like, you know, have enough this covered. My dream on YouTube, if you want to be funny, like my like unrealistic goal that I would never achieve was 2 million views a month. I'd worked out the money that would equate to, and I was like, man, that would be amazing. Can you imagine? You literally cannot imagine, right? Or I couldn't imagine. And most months I do better than that. In fact, every month since 2017 maybe, I have done better than my stretch goal that was unimaginable. And yet, every single month, I don't think about how amazing it is compared to my dreams. I think about how bad it was compared to last month, or how bad it was compared to my peak in 2019, or hopefully my future peak in 2022, am I right? Here's crossing those fingers. But it's interesting, because I feel like a lot of people have the exact same thing. You know, you achieve your dream of having a I don't know, you know, like, I don't know, you win the lottery and you get to have a mistress at the same time, but then you're like, oh, but she doesn't really love me for me. She loves me for the money. That's sad. My real dream is like having, you know, the two you know, like you dream for that, but you really dream for a better version of that. And I feel like, I don't know if this is faulty logic, or if it's actually like cool. Oh, I actually want to go this way. Never mind. This is Union Square, by the way. It's a cool part of New York. We'll be coming. I feel like this is one of my favorite like areas for being like central, but also being like cool at the same time. It's pretty interesting. I've run a lot of lights today. Let's hope those cars don't kill me, huh? But yeah, it's really, really interesting to me. Not only seeing a bank that is so proud and rainbow colored. That's actually pretty cool. You know, most places that put an effort in, they're like, here's a flag, we support you. Do something interesting with it, you know? Rather than everyone having to do the token gesture, why can't the people who really care do the max level gesture? Maybe that should be everything. Maybe, I think about a lot, maybe dreams are good as dreams. Maybe everything should be bad or good, because when everything becomes expected and normal, it loses some of its interest. And so, oh look, because it's my... And so I want to leave this video by saying, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I had to talk in public near a lot of people. I could see their faces in real life, but they were like, a few people were like, what is going on here? I'm just FaceTiming with the girl. And you know who the girl is? It's you, internet. Hope you enjoyed our little date here today, because I'll see you all in the next one. Do you see my eye here, by the way? It hurts so much. It's very gross. Also, if you have any advice for the milkshake thing, a lot of people were very helpful about it. Said try an elimination diet and see if you can still drink milkshakes. I might actually try that. But you know what else I'm gonna try? It looks so green screened on me, my face in this background, right? I'm not really in New York. It's a lie. See you all next time. Have a good day. Unless you die or win the lottery. They're both equally bad, it turns out.